city of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love the city of mine. It never gets me down, yeah.
I was born in the city, I was raised on its edges. My pop work is life when it's complex. I found love in its center. If I could live here forever, think it'd be for the better. I love the weather, even though it's fog 24/7. I love the people, this is city. I met all my best friends, and I wanna thank every brick. I wanna thank every entrance to every building that I step in this city of mine. I owe you most my best moments in life. See, I fell in love for the first time in Golden Gate Park. I saw my first rap show at Great American Hall. I used to beg my homies for a ride across the bridge to goof off and spend the whole damn day doing whatever we want. Keith drove us down to Ice Place while we'd roll up a blunt, and me and Jack would get stoney, walk around and get lost. Don't think I'll ever truly pay back all I was lucky to get just by walking through the city. No, I'm a small part of this.
City of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down.
I never really had a place to call my own, so I travel and I roam till I find that. But I'm full of adventure, so I wander and I venture, and it's safe to say that really I don't mind that. I book a flight to try to figure where my mind's at, a spot where I don't spend no money, just some time at. I mix and mingle with the people till I learn a little. I brought some weed and baby, maybe we could burn a little. She said you're funny, I said no, I'm Xavier, then I left. Sun shining, birds chirping, let me take a breath. I'm headed to the city where my chance to make it best. What people like to give a little, then you take the rest. I'm hoping one day maybe I can find a place to rest. I fell in love with life and wonder where it take me next. I like the hustle and bustle, I fell in love with the fashion. I feel the pulse of the city, it's moving me like a passion and it's mine.
How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down, city of mine. How I love this city of mine. It never gets me down. Me and my hometown, baby, we go way back. All the situations, circumstances, still we don't mind. Steady going on, I dance around the street lights. Hey.
What's up, people? This market is crazy. Thought I would go live, watch the market closing. I mean, it closes in about 4 minutes, but it's been very, very interesting in here. Let's see here. We got Nolan in the live stream. Let's see what you talking about, Nolan. Nolan says, pull that down here. Nolan says, hey, Jason, this is my first time on one of your lives. Although I was introduced to options through your videos, almost filled up a full notebook just from your content. Up 2,900 profit on the day. You the man. Welcome to the party, Nolan. That's always good information to hear. And so here's what I'm looking at. Nolan say 17, by the way. That's what's up. K is in the building. So I look forward to this live. I need to know. I was told this is a bear trap. If so, when will it be over? You know, I don't know. Let's kind of take a look at some of this stuff, man, because it's a very interesting market that we're in right now. So let me see if I can bring some things up. I'm just looking at several different stocks, like Roku had a nice run up today, but you're kind of seeing this sell off a little bit in the last few minutes. Look at AMD, for example. AMD, our good friends, AMD ran up at the morning, but then you can see the rest of the day just kind of fizzled out and then came into this channel. And as the market's starting to close, we're kind of getting that fizzle out from AMD as well. And so I'm looking at, you know, some of these stocks, but then you got stocks like Microsoft ran up and held into the close. 3M ran up, sold off. I'm trying to look at a broad amount of sectors here. You got Delta up, trying to give a little bit of it back as we go into the close. Carnival Cruise. Who else? We had Boeing that was very interesting, shot up. And so I'm with you. The question is this a bear trap? Here's what we've been talking to our members about. Here's what I'm looking at. So let's look at the S&P 500. Let's just go there. We got like 2 minutes before the market closed. Matter of fact, hold on. Before we go there, let's just stick with the streaming. Let's just stick with the streaming quotes for the next 2 minutes, just so we can see what's happening. What I usually like to pay attention to is this bearish kind of selling volume that's coming in at the end of the day on some of these stocks. But not everything is like that. So needless to say, it's a tough market right now. It's a tough market right now. You had this last little rally, and the question you have to ask yourself is this rally going to hold? Is this rally going to hold? I don't know. Things we were bearish on turn bullish, sort of. Things you're bullish on turn bearish. It's like, what do we do with all this information? I don't know. It's kind of crazy, guys. But I'm going to share with you my thoughts on what you got to pay attention to, especially in the upcoming week, today, tomorrow. And if we see a breakdown starting at the moving averages probably as early as tomorrow, I think we go back down. But if we don't, the question you got to ask yourself is the bottom in? And that's what we don't know. We don't necessarily know if the bottom is in. So let me see. Omega said managed to buy 5 shares of Google, sitting on them until the split. Nice. So I said Tesla went crazy. It does feel like a bull here. It does feel like a bull fake out because these rallies are coming out of nowhere. Well, the market's closed now. So let's just take a look at the overall market and some individual stocks and kind of see if we can digest what's going on. So let me know. Are you trading? Are you buying stuff? How you feeling about the market? How you feeling about your trades? Here's the S&P 500 here. And here's a little bit what's cringeworthy, confusing. If you look at the S&P, we expected, here, let's do this. We expected a bounce down here at this level. You know what I'm saying? Because you can see support. If we snap a line across there, you can see support. But if you come right down to here, which is where it really bounced recently, you can kind of see this level of support of where we assumed we would get a bounce. So if you were in the classes that we discussed, we assumed we would get a bounce here, and we get a bounce there. And we did. We got a nice rocket off the bottom. You had Jay Powell do his thing with the Fed speech. So everything looked pretty normal. I think what's happening now, though, is we're getting into a situation where it's like, are we really, like, is the bottom in? Because if you put the moving averages on, I thought we were going to fail at the 200-day yesterday. We had a doji. But then today we popped above it. But look at how we're moving, though. We're moving on decline in volume. And so how much weight do we give to the volume that is declining? That we're going up, but we're running out of gas. We're technically running out of steam. How much weight do we give to that? The other thing we look at is if we snap some lines kind of like this, you can see technically we broke the downtrend. You could technically say we snapped or broke the downtrend right here. But then we run into potentially horizontal resistance right here, right? So do we get another good day or 2-3 days this week only to get smacked down about like we did here? WWE SmackDown, boom. WWE SmackDown right there. So do we get a little bit more of a push as volume continues to climb, only to get up here to turn around and be met with the SmackDown? That's the question. We don't know the answer right now. We got to wait and see. But here's what would be most shocking to me right now. What would be most shocking is if we just do this. Boop, 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 boop. As if we just like skip inflation, forget war, forget Russia. We don't do no business with them anyway. They never really contributed much. Forget the rate hikes. It's like if we were to do this, I would be the most surprised, as if we just like, yeah, none of that matters. Now I know the market is forward thinking, but if the market, here's the thing, the market is forward thinking. But if the market is so forward thinking, then tell me, why do we get the sell-off like we do here if all we're going to say is the war don't matter, inflation don't matter, interest rates going back up don't matter? If the market is so forward thinking, then what is the point of the sell-off anyway? What's the point of the sell-off? If it's so forward thinking, like, you mean to tell me we could have just waited 30 days and nobody would care about any of the things going on in 30 days? If we just waited from February to March, we could have just waited and nobody would care about anything. Now, long term, the market goes up. So you do have to be careful, because at some point, I mean, we can go back as far as you want to go back. But at some point, the market does just, right, it just long term goes higher. It does. So I'll give it that. But as of right now, I'm like, so we don't care about inflation. We don't care about this war. We don't care about interest rates rising. None of that. High gas prices, which is going to affect trucking, transportation, cost of goods sold. I don't know, man. But the market doesn't really care about what we think. The market is going to do what it's going to do with or without us, with or without our money. Let's look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So let's look at the Dow Jones, the DJI, and the Dow pretty similar to the S&P 500. If you put the moving averages on it, the Dow is right here at the 200. Wondering if we're going to get a failure right there. But if we don't get a failure right there, I mean, we're right back. It's not that much higher for it to go before we're right back in the zones that we thought was troubling. Boom, sell off. Boom, sell off. So if we rally, I don't know, rest of this week, we get right back up here to a point where we potentially sell off. But if we do this, boom, 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 I'm like, gosh, like, if the market is that forward thinking, then just load up on calls and let's just get paid. Just make sure you got 6 to 12 months worth of calls, because the market is just so resilient that it doesn't care about anything. Maybe. I don't know. How about the NASDAQ? NSADAQ. How about the NASDAQ? The NADAQ. NASDAQ, though, struggling a little bit. Not as prominent as the S&P 500 was today. Not as prominent as the Dow Jones. You can see NASDAQ, though, is like, yeah, we already right back up here where we ran out of gas before. Like, boom, ran out of gas. We right back up here. Are we going to run out of gas again? I don't know. All I do know is that we moving higher on declining volume. So I don't necessarily see the buying pressure coming in. But what's funny about the market is you have these unique times in the market where everything you taught doesn't work. Everything that you know to be true about the market, it does the exact opposite. You could be like, we at war, we got inflation, we got rising interest rates, higher gas costs, higher cost of goods service, higher cost for labor, higher interest rates, inflation on properties, and then the market would be like, so what? We going higher. And you're like, none of this makes sense. But then you have a time where it's like, everything is good. And then we get a crash out of nowhere. We get a crash out of nowhere when everything is good. So the market is sometimes counterintuitive. Let's look at some of the greats. Let's take a look at some. What stocks here? Let's do this. What stocks do you guys want to take a look at? Type them in the box. Right. I feel like we just go vibe, have a little fun for the next 10, 12 minutes. What stocks are you guys trading that we should take a look at? Will I Am says he made some calls on Tesla today. Nice. Let's take a look. All right. So Maxine, let's take a look at it. UVXY. Let's take a look at the UVXY. So let's, all right. So the UVXY, there's actually nothing to look at here. This is an ugly chart. So let's switch over and let's break it down why I don't like it. All right. So here go to UVXY. This is the Ultra Pro Share Short Term Futures ETF. This thing is just in a long-term downtrend. You can see here where it just fell out of the sky, right? And then just fell down here, and now it's doing nothing, right? It's doing nothing. I mean, maybe you get a little bit of bounce right here to come back up, but this isn't a pattern that I like to trade because it's not doing much. It is sideways channeling though. You could give it that, right? It's just kind of boom, boom, sideways channeling. So boom, boom, boom. So if you was go try to go bullish, I guess this would be your opportunity, assuming that this pattern continues and then we get a nice move up. But it's not one that I would be excited to actually trade. All right, we got Nolan with the TQQQ. Let's take a look at the TQQQ, see how we feel about that. Ultra Pro, that's interesting. So the TQQ, which is the pro shares of the Qs, which is tech stocks. Well, I shouldn't say it's interesting. It's not that interesting. Let's bring it back. It's not that interesting because if you look, we should have expected this move. So if we look at this and start looking across at support, we can kind of see, even if we go down to here and use this level as support, you can kind of see where we were probably expecting the bounce that we got. So if you made some money, good, you should have. We should have been expecting this. We talked about this inside the university that, guys, we're most likely going to get a bounce this week. And we got it, which was technically last week. But we got that bounce. And it just made sense that we would get the bounce because the market is selling off but not breaking down. Market doesn't want to break down below this level here, or the Qs in this case that we're talking about. But we got decline in volume. And then we're getting back to a level where we started to run into resistance before, right? So is this level going to kind of continue to be resistance, or are we going to get a little bit more room to run up here to, like, 63 and some change before we turn around? And so to me, it's a little too risky to go bullish just to try to make this little bit of money in between here. When you went bullish down here, it's like, okay, I can make this much money. And if I'm wrong, I get a stop loss right below support. So I stop out, I get a loss right here. Well, now you're saying if I get in this tomorrow, I could lose this much money, right? And I'm risking that much money trying to make this little bit of money. I don't like the risk reward ratio on that. So I'm not feeling as confident. And when you look at something like this, it's saying like, should we go bullish today? It's like, but how much more of the run do we have? Unless we're saying the bottom's in, we're done, off to the moon we go. I don't know that we're off to the moon right now. El Bombin. Let's take a look at Roblox. Roblox got smacked after they released earnings, right? So a lot of people excited about the stock. And this is why I try not to chase hype. You got this hype that just didn't pan out. So if I'm looking at this, here's what's interesting about a downtrend in stock. We talked about this with our members, and that is that what? A downtrend in stock can still have some uptrending days, right? Downtrend in stock can still have some bullish days. Why? Because it doesn't just fall straight like a rock. You get that bullish day or week, get that bullish week, you get a couple bullish days there, a couple bullish days there. So it's not uncommon to look at this and say, okay, right, we were about due for another week of a little bit of a bullish rally. Now the real test begins. Can we break this downtrend and do we just continue to go higher? Now is the real test. And do we go higher in the face of earnings coming up? We have yet to see. We're going to have to see what this thing is really made of, because so far we keep getting smacked down. Now, at some point, the smackdowns are going to be to a point where you're like, well, the company at least still does something good, so it's not worth zero, right? So at some point, the smackdown is going to be like, okay, at $10, I'm willing to own this company. But here's a company that I know some people were looking at before. Look at Romeo. So is it possible for the stock to continue to fall? Continue to fall to where it's $1.70. Let's go back to Roblox. That's what we was looking at. Is it possible for it to continue to fall? Absolutely. Absolutely. So until it tells me different, I have to respect this downtrend right here and ask, is any day now the day that the air is going to get let out of this thing? Now, the good news is, though, it did have bullish volume today, higher volume than the previous day. So I don't know. We'll see what the market has to say about that tomorrow. But it's not talking to me. All right, my man DT, Doug Tolliver says, I'm in Microsoft, bought AMD, bought protection today. I like Microsoft. I like AMD. These are going to be your long-term plays that I think you look back and you're going to feel good that you own this as an investment down here. Same thing with Apple, right? If we go to Apple, you're going to feel good that you bought Apple on a pullback to the 200-day moving average, right? Pull back to the 200, nice, beautiful bounce. Apple's still a great company. So yeah, Microsoft, Apple, I don't think you regret buying those down there. Then you question, is this a W pattern that turns bullish? But I'd love to see the volume pick back up. And then we also have to ask ourselves, are we back to the level where it sells off? And are we going to get maybe another bullish day or so? But then do we hit our head and turn back around? Or is just the worst of everything just totally baked in right now? Interest rates, war, it's just all baked in? We good? I'm gonna be the first to tell you, no one really knows. So it's good to own great companies long term. But if you're short term trading, this is a tough market right now. Unless you caught it right at the absolute bottom, which we talked about to our members, is that, hey, right there, you're probably going to get a bounce and a move higher. Let's take advantage of it. But if you're trading, it's time to either A, take profits right now, or B, you're late to the party trying to run in. AMD, we just looked at AMD on the streaming charts. AMD, I worry about it right here. If we put the moving averages on, we right here at the 50 where it continues to fail. Boom, 50 fell. Boom, 50 fell. Boom, 50 fell. Boom, 50 fell. We're right here back at the 50, and we don't know if it's going to fail, but so far the history has been a failure at the 50. If you look at, if we pull up the streaming charts of AMD right here, it didn't hold its run up today. You know, it sold off, and then we kind of came into this channel, right? Boom, 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 doing nothing. It's down 32 cents after hour. It's not that much. It's not that big. So we'll see how this holds over tomorrow. And that's really the question for everything. It's like, how do we hold tomorrow? Because these aren't big moves. The S&P only was up 50 points today. The CompQ only up 270. The Dow Jones only up 254. So when we go back, NASDAQ or NDAQ, that's not a big move out of the NASDAQ. In fact, with that much volume coming in, that's all we got today. And then we got S&P 500, the SPX. XPX, lower volume, but at least a better candlestick move. And then we got the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Decent candlestick, but I mean, we're still kind of hanging out right here, having a hard, I don't know if it's a hard time, we'll find out, going higher. So I think you're right to consider insurance on AMD in case we roll over and come back down. If it pops and goes higher, we'll take it. We'll take it. Long term, we think it's a good company, but short term, I don't know. It's not looking sexy. Let's look at the SOXO, which is the semiconductor ETF. And you can kind of see here, when you look at the semis, here, let's pull that up like that. When you look at the semis on this view, you got a nice, I mean, it snapped the downtrend right here. Let's bring another one in. It snapped the downtrend, but is this what you feel comfortable getting into with declining volume like that? So you got volume declining, and then we're kind of up here looking like we're running out of gas and want to roll over. Do we know if we're going to run out of gas and completely roll over? We don't know that for sure, but it's looking like we bounce, possibly ready to run out of gas. So if the semiconductor entire sector looks like it has declining volume as it's going up, looks like it's possibly running out of gas. You can see the long wick, meaning it didn't hold at the top for the day. I think you're right to put some insurance on your NVIDIA. Your AMD. Barbara Tate, I was looking at you talking about NVIDIA. Let's see, is it going to be similar to AMD? I think so. We kind of right at this level where it's like, what we gonna do? Do we go higher or do we go lower? Right at the level of resistance. You can kind of see this beautiful channel. Bop, bop. All right, so if you're new to the channel, when should you buy? You should be buying down here at the bottom of the channel. If you missed that memo, okay, most people, what they make the mistake and do, you get this rally, and then most people come in and buy right here at the top, and then we get here, and then they're like, how did I lose all my money? The market rigged. The moment I buy it, it goes down. True. That's because you're not really paying attention. So I like NVIDIA. I don't like it right here, right now, not in this market, because I'm anticipating a sell-off. Now, just because Lil Jason Brown from Power Trades University is anticipating a sell-off, does that mean we go get it? No, that doesn't mean we're going to get it. But what it does mean is I'm the leader and controller of my money, and I don't have to put it in right here if I don't feel comfortable with that risk-reward ratio. And so for me, I either got to sit it out or see if there's an opportunity to play puts back down to the downside short term. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Kuwaito, I think I'm saying that right. Kuwaito. ISPC, let's take a look. I don't even know what company that is. So when I see a chart like this, I don't touch charts like this. See how this just does nothing? Then you got this random speculation, probably volatility. Then we're back down to doing what? Nothing again. So this isn't a tradable chart for me. This isn't a tradable company. It's not a tradable pattern. So for me, that's just an easy, I'm good. I'm good. Let's look at Dante's GM. Let's go GM. So General Motors got smacked. All right. And this, you gotta be a chart reader and put the technicals on, because look at where GM ran right up to. Do you think it's a coincidence? Ran right up, smack, right up, smack, right up, smack, right up, smack. So we're right up to that level and smack. Now, conversely, it found support where? Where did it find support? Right where it took liftoff from back in December 2020. So I think long term, if you want to try GM, this is a low risk area to consider buying it at. And if you were paying attention, you should have definitely took profit. You should have took profit way up here. Why? Because we have 1, 2, 3 times that told you don't be a hero right here. And so if you're a hero, and this is why I'm not just the biggest fan of buy and hold. I mean, I guess you can buy and hold some stuff, but if you're buying and holding the wrong stocks, just think about this, ladies and gentlemen. If you're buying and holding the wrong stocks, you bought GM December 20th, 2020, and you like, man, I own some GM. They doing electric cars. I'm good. You rode it from 40 all the way up here to 64. You rode it. And now here we are, April 2022. So that's what, like a year and a half later. It's basically in the same place where you bought it a year and a half ago. And that's why I believe in actively managing your account, because, man, that's hurtful. Because when you take in the fact that inflation and things cost more, you're like, well, I didn't lose any money. I broke even. Well, technically, if you look at the fact that a year and a half later, the money you had tied up in GM didn't make you any money. And number two, the money you had tied up and doesn't buy the same thing you used to buy, well, you technically did lose money. Does that make sense? So Carl Payne says, what up? What's up, Carl Payne? We already looked at Apple, I think. We can look at Apple again. So we'll take Apple, and then maybe we'll rack right there. So let's take a look at Apple one more time. We talked about Apple in the beginning. My favorite thing about Apple was this pullback to the 200-day moving average, because you can see pullback to the 200 is this area where you should be considering buying. Didn't really hit the 200, but it came close. You got that pullback to the 200, nice rally. Pullback again to the 200, nice rally. Now, that does not mean ignore the fact that it's in a pullback. And how can you tell it's in the pullback? You can see here, let's close that out. Let's zoom that back. You can see here it's in a pullback. At some point, we probably expect Apple to break out of this pullback. But if I'm able to buy it on a pullback down here to support, that is where I want to put capital to work on this company. And if you did, you caught this move from 151 to 168. Nice 17-point move. That's a rally if I've ever seen one on Apple. My man Carl Payne with the super chat. I love super chats. Super chats just mean like, here's a tip. You're doing good, Jason Brown. Hold on. There it is. We'll bring the horns in for that one, man. I appreciate it, Carl. So there is Apple. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but there it is again. So I don't know, guys. Is the market, is the bottom in and the market's done going down? I'm just having a hard time believing that. We don't care about inflation. We don't care about the war. We don't care about all the money we spent and gave away for COVID-19. We don't care about higher wages. We don't care about increase in interest rates. I'm just having a hard time believing we don't care about none of that. And we're just like, cue the bulls. Because Like, we done, we going higher. Cue the bulls. None of that matters. Everything's just gonna be okay. Gosh, was it that easy? Was it that easy? It's just like, give it 30 days. No one to care about Russia. No one to care about Ukraine. No one to care about $4 or $5 oil prices. Nobody to care about all the money we spent on COVID that we got to get back. No one to care about higher interest rates. No one to care about houses inflation, food inflation, labor inflation. The consumer is just strong. We can survive all of this. I don't know if I'm a believer, but we're going to see. So let's see what the market gives us tomorrow. I'm anticipating a sell-off at some point. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to be cynical. But if the market continues going up, it's like, what do we care about then? What do we care about? Because I think we go care again once earnings come around. That's my thoughts. I think we go care again once earnings come around. And some of these companies starts missing their earnings. Some of these companies start reducing their guidance. But then again, they could just say, everything is fine. Everything's okay. Supply chain is going to work itself out, which it will someday. It will someday, for sure. But are we there yet? Is this the bottom? Is the bottom in? I don't know. I'm keeping my money in my pocket. I'm not bullish just yet. We'll see if I come to regret that. But I'm not bullish just yet. So we will have to wait and see what's happening. Anyway, thanks for rocking with me. Be sure to hit the thumbs up if you got some value from this video. Also, hit the subscribe button and that bell notification so you can get notified when we go live here on the YouTube channel. So thanks for hanging out with me. I'm signing off saying, remember, you never go broke taking a profit.